Hey guys, it's Fiorella here, and I'm super excited to introduce to you Susie. She's here to help us out with some sleep help. If you guys have newborns or you have a friend who has a newborn, shoot them a text real quick. We're gonna get started in the next few seconds here. So again, this is all to celebrate the launch of our newest product, the Coo. It's our first ever bassinet, and it's unlike any other product out there because it's a bassinet and a playpen. It's got a ton of storage at the bottom, different configurations, folds up for easy travel. So if you're going somewhere soon and you're gonna stay in a hotel room and you wanna make sure that your baby has a clean space to sleep in, check out the Coo. It's available now on our website. And for the next 48 hours, it has a special coupon code. Use code COOFIRST. The first 25 people are gonna get $50 off. So make sure you head over to our website. There's a bunch of different posts on both Instagram and Facebook, so check it out. So let's get started. Susie, tell us a little more about your background and experience.
Sure. So I have a background in developmental psychology, and it's applied development. So it's not clinical. So I don't do diagnostics. I don't do, I don't see Asperger's or anything like that. Mm-hmm. Applied is basically, it's founded in research. And then I am certified pediatric sleep consultant as well.
That's pretty cool. So tell me about yourself, like having kids. Were you excited to have all this experience and background? Did it help you out at all?
I was so excited. So when I had my first, I was finishing up my schoolwork, getting my doctorate in developmental psychology. And I actually had my son right before I finished. And I remember when coming home from the hospital, it was kind of one of those, I know a lot about development, but I still felt like I was hit across the face because sleep is a whole different world. Right. So when I had him, I actually did what I do best, which was dive into the research and look at all the sleep research and what it says and read all those books. And really, as a new mom, who has time for that? Right. But I wasn't getting any sleep, so I was trying to figure all of this out. Right. And at 4 months, I ended up having to sleep train him, and I figured out a good schedule. And reading all those books, there was, this book says this, there's contradicting opinions from friends, family, the books themselves. So diving into the research was really kind of where I found my niche and figuring out what I can do for him. And I got him sleeping through the night, taking 3 predictable naps eventually. And then 22 months later, when I had my daughter, I knew a lot more, and I had a good thing going from the get-go with her, and I didn't even have to sleep train her.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so after that is when I realized so I was helping families in that time frame, and I knew there was still a lot more I needed to learn because I knew, I could help kids who were healthy development, but what if they had colic? What if they had reflux? What if there were parasomnias involved? Toddlers are a completely different story. I got certified with the Family Sleep Institute, and they are a global organization, and it's an amazing company, and they go through all of that. So it's not just founded on one particular method. And we have continuing education courses with them, and they're just amazing, an amazing group of women who are around the world, and we can help each other too.
That's amazing. I love that. So,
doctors, nurses, moms, PhDs.
Guys, she's not only a sleep expert, but she's got first-hand experience. So make sure we're going to open up a live Q&A here in the next few minutes, so make sure you're logged in, asking your questions. We'll try to get to as many as we can. So I wanted to ask you a few of my own questions.
Yes.
So as far as newborns go, we have the new Coo out. What is your experience with co-sleeping? What advice do you have for our audience that wants to co-sleep and isn't comfortable having their baby in another room or in a crib yet?
So the American Academy of Pediatrics does not recommend co-sleeping with especially your newborn.
In the bed, right?
In the bed. So there's a difference between room sharing and bed sharing.
Oh, okay.
And room sharing is something they are supportive of. And that is something that the coo would be very beneficial of. And it's helpful for moms because the baby's safe, and really safety is of utmost importance.
Right.
When the baby's in the bed, you can roll over, the sheets can come over them, pillows, you're at risk, higher risk for SIDS, which is sudden infant death syndrome, and we don't want that.
Right.
So the American Academy of Pediatrics came out with this recommendation of keeping your baby in your room for the first year, which is a cautious recommendation, but it was to prevent co-sleeping and promote room sharing.
I like that phrase, room sharing. I
Yes.
definitely room shared with my youngest.
Yes.
But I like my own space in my bed.
Yes.
You know,
and
so
then
it's nice
to follow up, then everyone's like, oh my gosh, well, my baby's supposed to be in the room for a year. But then there was a study that came out in Pediatrics in July 2017, which is the Journal of the American Academy of Pediatrics, that showed between 4 and 9 months, if you moved your baby out of the room, there were fewer night wakings and much longer sleep periods. So, what do? Do you keep your baby in the room for a year, or do you move them out of your room for more sleep? So,
and even within that range, do you do it at 4 months, 6 months, 8 months, 9 months?
So at that point, it's, kind of whatever that family is comfortable with, but the point of the year recommendation was to reduce bed sharing. So it wasn't about, you need to keep your baby in your room for a year to reduce the risk of SIDS. It was to reduce bed sharing and co-sleeping.
And therefore reduce
right.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. We also have had a lot of questions about the challenges that C-section moms face with newborns. It's really challenging when you have a C-section. You are recovering from birth in a very different way. You have, yourself to take care of, and you put yourself at risk if you don't sleep properly and rest properly. So do you have any advice for C-section moms?
Yeah, so for C-section moms, one, they're in a lot more pain. Their recovery is longer. And again, having your baby next to you is going to be a lot easier than having them in a different room and having to get up and go to them. Another challenge for C-section moms is breastfeeding. Because you don't want the baby lying across your stomach and it's, hurting, so you hold them more in a football hold, or you lie down on your side. In terms of if you do have a C-section, I always recommend having a pillow by your side, so that when you do have to either get up, or if you're laughing or someone's over and something's happening, if you push that pillow up against yourself and put pressure on it, it helps reduce the pain that they're feeling. Just having that pressure and pillow there, because if you're laughing, you don't want things to split, or or if the baby's there, even if you're nursing and you want to go across, put the pillow there first and then put your baby.
Oh, that's great advice. You hear that, moms? You got lots of good advice today. What about, we have a lot of moms come out and talk about postpartum depression and the challenges and how hard it can be to recover. What's the correlation between sleep, or lack of sleep in this case, and postpartum depression?
I love this question because this is real. This is something we're dealing with, and probably about 80% of parents. Well, I want to differentiate between baby blues and postpartum, because 80% of moms who come home, we do have the baby blues. It's a hard transition. We're taking care of this tiny little human being that we love oh so much. And who's taking care of us? We're overwhelmed. We're having to make these decisions. Do I feed him? Do I change him? Does he sleep here? Does he sleep there? What do I have to do? And they don't come home with a guidebook. So as a first-time parent, there's a lot of worry and a lot of crying, both for you and your baby. So what happens is after 2 weeks, oftentimes those baby blues can subside. And if they keep going, probably about 15 to 20% of moms continue on to have postpartum depression. And that is very much linked with sleep deprivation. I mean, when you think about it, sleep deprivation is actually a form of torture. And so when you have a newborn, you are up every 2.5 to 3 hours feeding them. And maybe it takes an hour to feed them.
Feeding can be painful.
Then maybe you finally get them back down. Maybe you go to the bathroom and come back, and maybe you have an hour's sleep before they're up and eating, feeding again.
Yeah.
So you're going through this day in and day out. And if your little one doesn't get on a good sleeping track, then you're looking at chronic sleep deprivation. And there is study after study that shows that chronic sleep deprivation is linked with postpartum depression. But there is good news because there are also studies that show sleep interventions once the baby starts sleeping through the night, that mom's postpartum depression also improves. So when you start setting the stage for healthy sleep habits early on, even in the newborn stage, not even sleep training, right? Just getting in a good routine, good habits, and then you kind of move forward, getting your sleep moving forward, even 4 months, 6 months, 9 months on, postpartum will subside or can subside. It can get worse too, right? It also can lead to anxiety and in the most extreme cases, psychosis, right? So you really have to think about, how am I doing? And if you're not doing well, talk to your doctor about it.
Get help.
Get help, yes.
So you mentioned sleep routines, even as a newborn. Give us some examples, kind of walk us through that. What does that mean?
I love this because I just launched, or launching, it's available, my Mastering Newborn Sleep class online. So I go through all these kind of little processes that you can do with a newborn to set the stage, because newborns aren't born with circadian rhythms, which are just our sleep rhythms, and they aren't born with the ability to produce melatonin, which is our sleep hormone. But moms, if you're nursing, it's in your breast milk. So at nighttime, make sure if you're pumping, give them nighttime breast milk at night. So routines, one of the first ones I talk about is a feeding routine. If you set their hunger metabolism, that's the first place. I want you to snuggle your baby. When you bring your newborn home, it is time to create that bond. That's, snuggle them, hold them, love them, wear them for a walk while they're sleeping. I'm not saying lay them down to sleep every time. Every once in a while it's a good idea so they get the practice, but really focus on the bond and feeding at first, and then develop all the other parts that come along with it. So you want to do it gradually with a newborn.
Yeah, I love the bonding. That's definitely my favorite part.
They're only so tiny, so long.
I know, and it goes by so fast.
It's kind of like, I want another one, but
I just want to borrow my friends' babies, hold them, snuggle them, and then when they poop, I can just hand them back.
Exactly.